From Channel 5's Eyewitness News Central, it's the 10 o'clock report. Your number one source for news at 10 with Bob Chase, Jay Randolph with sports, and Tom Straw with the weather.
Good evening. Senator Frank Church says the Internal Revenue Service, not the CIA, is the biggest intelligence agency in the country today. The Idaho Democrat also said that the IRS admits circulating at least 29,000 confidential income tax returns to other government agencies which have no connection with the tax matters. Meanwhile, the Justice Department defended its practice of having the IRS make background checks on persons called for federal jury duty. It says the purpose is to pinpoint potential jurors with possible anti-government feelings. Many of the residents of Minot, North Dakota remain out of their homes, but they got some hopeful news this Easter Sunday. Authorities believe the flooded Souris River is now under control.
It may have a special significance for the people of Minot. It was Easter 7 years ago that the Souris River raged out of its banks, flooding much of the community. This year is somewhat different. The potential for flooding is greater than ever before, but the river has been controlled. The Souris crested overnight, and the water level is falling about 4 inches a day, but the river is still dangerously high. Dike watchers report erosion is still a problem. The river is moving about 10,000 cubic feet a second, as much as the average household uses in a year, and that fast current is eating away at the dikes. But the rain which stopped dike repairs yesterday has ended, and officials are optimistic they can protect the houses in the valley.
Members of the Melville Community Teachers Association voted tonight to return to the classrooms tomorrow morning. The teachers struck the South County School District April 8th and 9th, but elementary schools were kept open. During negotiations the past week, the board agreed verbally to consider rehiring 7 grade school French teachers slated to be laid off as an economy move as positions became available. Schools were closed the past week for spring vacation. Again, teachers will be on the job tomorrow in the Melville School District.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Schnucks Markets.
Hi, I'm Peg Walters.
Hi, I'm Peg Walters.
Hi, I'm Peg Walters. Hey, cut that out. I'm the real Peg Walters, and these fellas are my Six Flags friends, Dusty Hudson and the Maxwell brothers. We want to tell you what Schnucks and Six Flags have cooked up for you. Right, fellas? This year, a Six Flags season pass is just $22.50, and when you buy your season pass, Schnucks will give you a free coupon book worth over $30 in savings from local merchants. So enjoy a season full of fun at Six Flags and switch to Schnucks, the friendliest stores in town.
Famous Bar made a huge special purchase of men's short-sleeve dress shirts. Now with your purchase, you save substantially on every shirt. This week only, select from an outstanding assortment of current spring styles, valued from $10 to $14 each, and pay only $6.99 each. A handsome savings on men's shirts that are likewise very attractive. So choose an armful and save. They're just $6.99 each for 1 week only in Famous Men's dress shirts.
It's Famous Bar.
A 4-year-old O'Fallon, Missouri girl was struck and killed by a car today as she was riding a tricycle in front of her home. Dead is Karen Watson of the 700 block of Danny Lane. 2 St. Louisans had a narrow escape from death today as their car went out of control and crashed through a guardrail of the MacArthur Bridge. The 60-year-old driver, Robert Landron, escaped with minor injuries, but his passenger, Harry Schuster, was hospitalized for observation.
Well, we've talked to the driver of the auto, and he stated that he hit a slick spot as he come around the bend, right on the corner there, lost control and went into the wall. And it stuck just on the other side, thanks to this railing here, which kept him up. Otherwise, down he would have gone.
Looks like, what, about 75?
It's about 60 to 100 foot drop. It's a good 4 drop.
The police bomb and arson squad disagrees with Fire Chief Charles Camprad on the cause of St. Louis's April 2nd firestorm. Channel 5's Brenda Williams reports.
Chief Camprad said the big fire was caused by arson, but both police and fire department arson units say their investigations have found no evidence to support an arson charge. The St. Louis Bomb and Arson Squad says the cause remains undetermined so far.
A large amount of trash, Christmas trees, grass clippings, and other nature materials, combustibles, have all been stored in this building. It's also used as a spot for transits to maintain themselves at night or during the day to get out of the weather elements. All of this could well be a factor in the cause of the fire itself. But the requirements that are necessary for the police department to make a charge of arson are not, at this time, been developed by my unit.
Sergeant Casey said there is no statute of limitation on arson, so if the extended investigation uncovers solid evidence, any suspect can be prosecuted. Brenda Williams, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Everything is on sale now at Tipton. Every TV, every audio component, every appliance is on sale. Everything has been reduced 5, 10, even 20% off our everyday low price to give you big savings on everything. That's right, up to 20% off everything at all 10 Tipton stores, plus our giant warehouse showroom. When Tipton says everything is on sale, everything is on sale.
Whirlpool 19 cubic foot side-by-side no-frost refrigerator freezer, $3.99.
Why don't they make a station wagon?
A Cadillac station wagon?
You'll put that object on a $16,000 car?
Have you a better place?
There are a lot of expensive cars in the world.
We'll be gone an hour.
But of all these great cars, there's only one station wagon, presenting the Volvo 265, a working car for the leisure class.
Test drive any of the 6 new Volvos at one of these St. Louis area dealers.
My Walter's mother thought all canned Oriental foods tasted the same. So I served her Chungking chicken chow mein here, the other well-known brand here.
This is better.
She chose the Chungking. Maybe it's because of the specially seasoned Chungking sauce. Or the big chunks of chicken with scrumptious Oriental vegetables. She thinks Chungking chicken chow mein tastes better.
Of course, Chungking made it.
For great Oriental food, come to the king, Chungking.
Hey, where'd you get those things?
You mean my very own beauty collection? From Elizabeth Arden. Isn't it exciting? I got special sizes of visible difference, believable color, all the things I've always wanted to try. You just make a $5 purchase from Arden, and you can buy as many as 10 items from the special collection group for only $1 each. The Elizabeth Arden Fashion Counter. That's where I got those things.
The everything you've always wanted to try collection in all famous bar cosmetics departments.
2 of the major historic seats of Christianity have been Rome and Jerusalem. This Easter Sunday, tradition was followed in both places, and we have 2 reports.
Vatican observers estimated today's turnout at 250,000 people, including tens of thousands of pilgrims from around the world. They came to receive in person Pope Paul's blessing and to be a part of this famous annual observance. The Pope himself celebrated Christ's resurrection and what he called the victory of life over death for all mankind. At the same time, he deplored the world's growing quest for material goods at the expense of spiritual values. The Pope avoided any specific mention of the bitter controversies now raging inside the Church over such issues as birth control and abortion. But he did condemn what he called the army of deniers and critics who he said are working to deprive the Church of its real meaning. Pope Paul, now 78 years old, looked rested and spoke firmly in spite of an exhausting schedule during the past Easter week. Finally, he gave his yearly blessing to the city of Rome and to the world. And in various languages, he wished everyone a happy Easter. David Burrington, NBC News, Rome.
Thousands of pilgrims from abroad mingled with the varied Christian communities of the city. The central observance took place in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, at the site where tradition holds that Jesus was buried after his ordeal on the cross. 6 denominations share the church in a day-to-day harmony that's erased some conflicts of the past. In one part of the shrine today, those obedient to the Pope in Rome proceeded with Easter services. While the Catholics held their Mass, the Greek Orthodox, who follow a different calendar, celebrated Palm Sunday in another hall of the building. By the standards of the world's great cathedrals, this was a modest celebration of spiritual renewal. But for a land so often torn by human strife, even a modest display provided a serene respite. Tom Ackerman, NBC News, Israel.
Well, it isn't necessary to have new clothes to go to church on Easter, but it's still a tradition for those who can afford it. The Channel 5 mini camera captured a little of the Easter parade outside the St. Louis Cathedral on Lindell Boulevard. Mom and Dad and the children, everyone was decked out in his or her Sunday best. What color the hidden sun failed to add to the holy day was provided by the variety of outfits. Rain threatened for a time, but outside of a few sprinkles, it held off, although the wind did have some fun with some of the wide-brimmed hats. And Tom Straw, speaking of sprinkles in April, we just simply have not had enough of them yet.
Not quite enough. As a matter of fact, we're about 3 inches behind on our annual rainfall. We got a little bit of it this morning, but most of it came from the south. Take a look at the cloud map. That'll show you where most of the cloud cover is, but along with that, the miracle of modern electronics continues to astound us all. You can see that a lot of the heavy concentration of clouds is down in the Texas area along this frontal system here. Now this is turned stationary and it's beginning to what the weather people call occlude, which has created a lot of rain. I have some facts and figures here, and I brought the evidence, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In Houston, they had heavy rain, and by heavy, I mean in 6 hours, they had 7 inches of rain in Houston. That's equivalent to 60 million gallons per square mile, and if you want to get that into our terms, that's 5.6 million bathtubs per square mile of rain. It's funny how a shower can spawn a bathtub. I don't know, but we'll take a look at that later. This high pressure system out here kept the weather kind of nice for us today and will make it even better for us as the day goes on. But this shower activity that's down here in Houston, it's a very narrow type of shower activity. It's partly cloudy in Louisiana. It's even partly cloudy in the other part of Texas. But this is expected to head up in this direction and will probably head a little bit to the west of St. Louis as this high pressure system loosens up and goes up that direction and creates some nice weather for them up there. Then fast on the heels of this system, you're going to see this cold front with a little bit of shower activity with it gather, build up some steam and some speed, create a little bit more instability in the air and probably some more thunder showers for us later in the week. Right now it's 78 degrees was the high today in St. Louis. 65 was the low. It's cooling off quite a bit. As you can see, well, it got dark. That's going to make it cooler anyway. You know that. But as the cool front kind of slugged its way through, it cooled things off quite a bit. Like, for instance, right now the temperature in St. Louis is 63 degrees. Remember at 4 o'clock this morning, well, you probably weren't up to see it, but it was 65 degrees was the low. But the humidity is at 65% right now. The winds are gentle from the west at 3 miles per hour, and the barometer is 30.14 and is steady. Throughout most of the St. Louis area, things are pretty consistent in the mid-60s range anyway. But as I say, when this shower activity moves up from the Texas area, it's going to head mainly tomorrow night out in this neck of the woods. So if this is where you live, you might want to be prepared for some showers tomorrow night. Your AccuWeather forecast from Channel 5's Eyewitness News Central shows lots of stars, but a few high clouds tonight. Low around 54. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, it's back to work and back to school for you. You can take a light jacket or sweater. It's going to be sunny and 58 degrees. And the rest of the day will be partly cloudy, but plenty of sun, and you can probably get rid of the sweater around noon, lunchtime. High is going to be 76. Maybe some light showers at night, especially, as I said, west of St. Louis. On the extended AccuWeather forecast, Tuesday's looking warm and sticky and humid. A little bit more cloudy, only a slight chance of showers. Wednesday's really the same kind of day, except the chances of rain get better, and by Thursday, you are back to beautiful sunshine from AccuWeather. And we're back with Bob Chase and more news for you right after this.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Eastern Airlines.
Well, that's the weather for St. Louis. But if it's not right for you, call Eastern Airlines. Eastern's got the right time and the right place for you. And if the right place for you businessmen this week is Atlanta, Eastern has more non-stops there than any other airline. 6 every day. You know, I had a talk with Don Allen, Eastern's passenger sales manager here in St. Louis. He says if you really want to get an early start on your business day in Atlanta, take the 7:50 a.m. It's the earliest flight you can get, and it's on a comfortable wide-body L1011 Whisperliner. Or get a whole day's work done here in St. Louis and leave on Eastern's 9:33 evening nonstop. It's the latest nonstop departure you can get. And remember, there aren't any lower airfares from St. Louis than Eastern's. All the people of Eastern and St. Louis are working hard to get you to the places you want to go at the times you want to be there, serving 53 cities every day. So call the travel specialist, your travel agent, or call Eastern at 621-8900. Eastern's got the right time and the right place for you.
Sticksbear and Fuller brings on the Sunshine Girls in sunshine suits from Elizabeth Stewart, the splashiest swimwear under the sun. Elizabeth Stewart picks pastels for her new looks, orange sherbet, foam green, or powder blue. Here she does a bandeau loop bikini. For a great shape, wear our shiny one-piece maillot. Pull our orange kefton over a sun-drenched tan, a natural with these smooth, soft-touch suits. See our sunshine suits from Elizabeth Stewart.
President and Mrs. Ford attended Easter services at a small Episcopal church near the Camp David retreat in Maryland, where they talked with the Reverend Robert Schaefer. Then they went to the White House for Sunday dinner. Tomorrow, Mrs. Ford flies to Texas for a 4-day campaign trip on behalf of her husband, while the president campaigns later in the week in Indiana and Georgia. Washington Post reporters Carl Bernstein and Robert Woodward insist that their latest book on Richard Nixon's last days in office is as true as possible. But they admitted today on NBC's Meet the Press it might contain minor errors. The book has brought a feeling of sympathy toward Nixon from some readers. Bernstein said he felt compassion after he finished his research.
That as you reported this story, you more and more saw the intense pressure, the agony of the man, his inability to come to grips with what was happening to him at various times. A lot of it, I think, is very moving. There's some scenes in the book with his sons-in-law. There's a moment when David and Eddie are speaking with Mr. Nixon during the final days, and he kind of wants them to stay in the office with him, and David observes at one point that it was almost as if he didn't have anything to do. I think it's impossible not to be moved by Mr. Nixon's situation.
All of us at Pet Rally are inviting you to drop in during our free microwave oven demonstration. A professional home economist will be here to demonstrate microwave cooking and answer your questions. Let us show you something new in microwave cooking and prove that it is practical and economical. Microwave ovens really do work every day, every meal. So come into Pet Rallies during our free microwave oven demonstration April 19th, 20th, and 21st and see that microwave cooking is here to stay.
The Voyagers. 3 centuries ago, these intrepid Frenchmen portaged woods so vast, some are yet unseen by man, and canoed lakes so myriad, only God knows how many. This year, let Minnesota bring out the Voyager in you.
For your free vacation guide, see our coupon in this week's TV guide.
This man is carrying a source of power engineered by Toro. It doesn't use gas, never needs a tune-up, and it goes right here in this Toro Carefree electric mower. It starts with a squeeze of the handle, no cord to get tangled. It's quiet, lightweight, maneuverable. The Toro Carefree electric mower. Innovative engineering is what makes a Toro a Toro. Haven't you done without a Toro long enough?
So my wife tells me I look a little tired. Sure, I look tired. I rush like crazy to keep up with the demand for Tony's Pizza. Who can resist that melty mozzarella cheese, the rich tomato sauce, Tony's delicate golden crust? Oh, I almost wish it wasn't quite as good, so I could slow down a little.
Tony's is here.
You see what I mean?
It's not easy being America's favorite frozen pizza.
Despite a ceasefire accepted by both sides last night, fighting became intense during the day in Lebanon. Police say more than 100 people were killed and 150 wounded by mortar, rocket, and machine gun fire in Beirut and mountain passes. At Jefferson City on Wednesday, the House considers a $50 million appropriations bill, which includes such St. Louis items as the Wainwright Building, School for the Blind, and the Marillac College. All are expected to pass, but Speaker Richard Rabbitt tells Brenda Williams that Governor Bond is expected to veto the St. Louis projects in favor of others outstate.
I can't understand why his priorities don't include the people of St. Louis. I think that there are a number of important things that we need in St. Louis, like the University of Missouri at St. Louis needs the extra space at the Marillac property. We're the most overcrowded campus in the entire university system. Meanwhile, the governor does urge the creation of a new law school at the University of Missouri at Kansas City, and he's recommended that we have a new journalism school at Columbia, and things such as this. I think really St. Louis isn't getting its fair share.
Okay, Jay, we're ready for the Mets.
Well, things are going a little better, no question about that. The Cardinals swept their two-game series with the Montreal Expos this afternoon. The Birds won 2-1 as John Denny had a no-hitter going for 6 innings, but he needed help from Mike Wallace for the last out in the ninth. The 23-year-old Denny lost his shutout in the ninth when Mike Jorgensen homered, and then with 2 on and 2 out, Wallace came on. He recorded his first save for the Redbirds. He was hit on the right wrist by a line drive off the bat of pinch hitter Bombo Rivera. Wallace managed to recover, throw to first for the final out. St. Louis bunched 3 hits off Dan Warthen in the fourth. For both of their runs, it was Kessinger, McBride, and Simmons all singling. Simmons sending home Kessinger with the first run, and then McBride scored when Reggie Smith hit into a forced play. I talked with John Denny, who thinks the Cardinals could surprise some fans this season.
Could be very interesting, too. I think we're the team to be watching as far as maybe a dark horse. I'm not saying that we're going to go out and blow anybody away this year or anything, and I'm not saying we're going to win it. But I think we've got an excellent ball club. We've got a well-balanced ball club. And the young guys, you know, everybody has said, like the beginning of the season and everything, that the young guys, you know, because they're inexperienced and everything, we're not going to do it. But I'll tell you what, I'm young and I can win, and I try to win just as easy and just as hard as any other veteran ball player in this league. And I can win just as easy and play just as hard. And I don't care what anybody says about the young team that we have. We're a good ball club, and you just better come out and watch us because we're going to show you some things.
John, a year ago you were here at this time. Then you went back down. You came back, and now I think everybody feels you are here to stay.
Well, I hope so. I appreciate that. I think I am too. I'm more confident this year than I have been in a long time. And this winter, I really became relaxed, and I really became optimistic about this year, and I really felt good. And my first game was a bad game for me, and it just kind of put me down the dumps a little bit. But you know, and this really helped. You just keep battling back, and I really feel good. I feel that I'm going to stay here a long time, and there's a lot of the guys are too.
Here's a look at the scoreboard in the National League. The Cardinals winning it 2-1 over the Expos. The Phillies with Mike Schmidt hitting another home run today after those 4 consecutive homers yesterday. The Phillies 8-5 over Chicago. Pittsburgh beat the Mets 7-5. Dave Kingman, though, hit 2 home runs for the Mets. The Giants 5-1 over the Reds. The Braves beat the Dodgers 7-6. And the Padres and the Astros split a doubleheader. In the American League, it was Minnesota 5-4 over the Yankees. The White Sox 10-4 over the Red Sox. The Brewers and Rangers split their doubleheader. In 12 innings, Oakland over Baltimore by a score of 2-1. Detroit 6-2 over California. And Cleveland shut out Kansas City. The final in that one was 6-0. Well, the Cardinals announced this afternoon that they have called up Doug Clary, a 21-year-old infielder, to fill the vacancy created by that injury to Mike Tyson. Tyson, the second baseman, you'll remember, was placed on the 15-day disabled list last Friday. The Cardinals will play the Mets tomorrow night, 7:30 at Busch Stadium. Tom Seaver goes for New York, and Pete Falcone for the Birds. Turning to the basketball news, the Detroit Pistons trimmed Milwaukee's Bucks 107-104 to advance to the NBA Western Conference semifinals, and they'll go against the defending Golden State Warriors. Buffalo beat Philadelphia in overtime, the final 124-123, and Buffalo now plays Boston. In the ABA, it was New York 110 and San Antonio 1-8, and that's been quite a series. The leading scorer and rebounder for the University of Kansas, Norm Cook, has applied for an NBA hardship draft. Cook was drafted last year by the now defunct ABA Utah Stars. On the golf scene, the $45,000 first prize in the Tournament of Champions Golf Classic at La Costa went to Don January. The 46-year-old tourist having a great year. Hubert Green was in second place. The Tallahassee Open went to young rookie Gary Koch, a final round of 70 and a score of 277. And Judy Rankin won the Phoenix Ladies PGA title, her 54-hole score of 205, the best on the ladies' tour this year. In tennis news, Romanian Ilie Nastase qualified for the WCT Challenge Cup semifinals today, beating Rod Laver. Nastasi revealed after that match, though, that he might not be able to play in his next match there because of his country's Davis Cup matches coming up against Britain. Tonight it was Montreal 4, Chicago 1. The Canadiens sweep that series in Stanley Cup action and move on, and they look like a real contender. Bob, it's your last show, but it's not goodbye. I'll just say good luck.
Thank you, Jay.
Does this car problem sound familiar?
And I would accelerate or I'd go up a hill, I would get pinging from the engine. It was kind of a ping, 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 ping sound. So when I switched to Shell Super Regular gasoline, the problem was solved. After Super Regular, quiet.
Some engine problems can be helped by the right gasoline. If your car pings or knocks with the average unleaded, try Shell Super Regular. Drive only when you have to and choose a gasoline that's right for your car.
Sticks, Bear & Fuller invite you to a 2-week sale of Wedgwood at all Sticks stores and to the Wedgwood Roadshow and sale at our downtown store. Choose from 100 dinnerware patterns, our largest collection ever from the fine Wedgwood family, and save 20%. Save 10% on Wedgwood giftware and jewelry, plus Fame, Jasperware, and Coalport China. Also save 10% on Wedgwood cookware in the quince and wild strawberry patterns. Ask about our tabletop club plan.
Sticks, Bear & Fuller.
Have you heard all the cars today talking about how they compare with Datsun? Well, no matter what they say, there's no way that talk and double talk can deliver Datsun economy, durability, and value. When you hear talk from competitive cars like this one, keep this in mind. There's only one car like Datsun, and that's Datsun. Datsun saves.
See your nearest Datsun dealer and see why Datsun is your best value buy. Datsun saves.
What we know is as beautiful as what we sell at Tiletown Carpet City.
Save big during our great American Tile Sale. Save 30% to 50% on ceiling tile, mirror tile, carpet tile, vinyl sheet flooring, imported Italian ceramic tile. Save 30, 40, even 50% during our great American Tile Sale. Going on right now.
Tiletown Carpet City.
Where paying less is only the beginning.
While many of you enjoyed chocolate Easter eggs and bunnies today, a Bridgeton man was out seeking honey, and Channel 5's Brenda Williams also was there.
Cecil Wilson was entertaining house guests today when he was called to handle a stinging situation for the Overland Ambulance Service. Wilson is a beekeeper, and thousands of his humming friends had swarmed under the front bumper of one of the city's ambulances. So Wilson rushed to the 2800 block of Whitson Road with his protective headgear and gloves and a cardboard box to take the bees home.
Of course, now you put them in a box. They seem to be cooperating about going into that box. Why?
Because the queen bee's in there. When I got her in there, they'll go right on in with it. See?
How did you know which was the queen bee in 30 or 40, what, 25, 30,000 bees?
You don't know. You just have to, you could find her if I wanted to go through it. But there are, see, when they're in, she's about middle ways of it, and then you just get her in there, get the biggest amount of them in it, and then they'll just follow her right on in, you see. And
what are you going to do with them?
I'm going to put them in a hive, and then I do it for a hobby, and I have other swarms, and I just use them for, making a little honey, the way things are today, why it's cheaper for having honey than it is sugar.
Wilson said he didn't mind the intrusion on his Easter afternoon. After all, he's always loved the birds and the bees. Brenda Williams, Channel 5, Eyewitness News.
Well, these large letters on a mountain near Hollywood are quite a temptation for pranksters. So during the night, someone observed the Easter season by blacking out one of the L's in the film capital's name. And as Tom Straw told us, let's look forward to some cloudy weather tonight, as the temperature is around 54, it will be around 54 degrees. Then looking ahead to tomorrow, around 8 o'clock, it's going to be sunny, around 58 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly cloudy with a chance of evening showers, high tomorrow around 76. And that's the news. And as many of you might have heard, this is my final broadcast for Channel 5. For reasons that will soon become apparent, I'm leaving KSD-TV after this program to enter a new field of endeavor, meeting new and different challenges. This is a somewhat difficult moment before me because I'm leaving a broadcast career that began nearly 30 years ago. It's also not easy to say goodbye to my many friends and associates here at the station, and to those of you who've been kind enough to bear with me during the more than 16 years of my association with Channel 5. It's been a challenging and rewarding period, one that will always bring fond memories to me. So thanks to everyone. Until we meet again, I hope you had a pleasant day today, and we'll have an even better day tomorrow. Bob Chase reporting. Good night.
A whole city is threatened with atomic destruction. See Howard Duff and Ida Lupino in the suspense movie Panic in the City, coming up next